You know, there are certain words that are really polarizing. One of them is Valentines. I know. Some of you, like me, love Valentines simply as a reminder to make love intentional, to create a ritual of connection, to do something special just because it's February 14th or thereabouts. Some of us hate Valentine's Day because no matter what we do or don't do, we feel like we get in trouble, we disappoint our sweetheart, and it never ends up living up to what they or we hope it might. I'm Dr. Cheryl Fraser. Lovely to meet you. And we're here in this beautiful place on Vancouver Island. If you ever get to visit post-pandemic, come to the Tinamara. It's one of my favorite romantic getaways, and they've kindly let us film here today. I'm going to give you the recipes, the 3 key ingredients for the perfect Valentine's date. Okay, I'm drawing this from a model I teach called the 3 keys to passion. I teach the passion triangle. And what that is are the 3 qualities: intimacy, thrill, and sensuality that great couples cultivate over time. Much of the beautiful work of John Gottman and his associates are focused in their own ways at developing these qualities. So here's a slightly different way for you to think about it. Then we're going to talk about how to design a date that has these 3 key ingredients in it. Okay, first ingredient, intimacy. Now, by that word, I'm not using it as a euphemism for sexuality. I'm talking about emotional, psychological relationship intimacy. What Gottman calls marital friendship, deep conversations, learning how to resolve conflict well, talking about your hopes and dreams. Your first piece of advice for this perfect Valentine's date this year is that you talk about things that matter, but nothing that's mundane. What do I mean by that? Forbidden topics. Don't talk about the children. Don't talk about the fact that the car needs a tune-up. Don't talk about the renovation to your bathroom. Focus this conversation on the 2 of you and the direct experience of the food and maybe the vino that you are experiencing, what that might sound like. Talk about some past dates or adventures or romantic vacations that you've had together. Maybe talk about your wedding day, what you remember best about that, your honeymoon. If you remember previous Valentines, talk about those. Then talk about the future, hopes and dreams, shared hopes and dreams, some plans for the future, maybe when the pandemic is under control and we can travel again, we can move more freely. So don't talk about the mundane, talk about the romantic. That's your first key ingredient to this date, intimacy. The second, this one's my favorite, is thrill. When I say thrill, I'm talking about those amazing feelings you had when you were falling in love, the excitement, the pitter-patter, and yes, the horny feelings you had when you thought about your sweetheart. Most of us feel some familiarity with the phrase, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. This feeling that the thrill has gone. How do I create thrill on my date, Cheryl? That's kind of hard. We've been together 32 years. The mind of interest, being interested, and choosing something novel and different are ways to create some thrill and excitement and make your partner feel like the most important person on the planet. I know. I can hear your protests right now through the screen. You're saying it's pandemic. We can't even leave our house. Our favorite restaurant's closed. The romantic beach house we like to rent is gone. We can't jump on a flight to the Bahamas right now. I'm going to challenge you and I'm going to tell you a story. This is a couple who are in my online immersion program that I run once or twice a year. It's a 3-month couples immersion program. I hope some of you might join me in it. This couple, they've given me permission to use their real names and details. Kent and Susan, together 34 years, live in Florida in a beach community. In the early months of pandemic, their whole community was locked down tight. You weren't allowed to walk on the beach across from their condo. You weren't allowed to go anywhere. But they were in my program, and I was challenging people to create a passion plan, to plan romance and thrill, to plan for intimacy and thrill, and the next step, the next key ingredient, you're going to hear about it in a minute. Here's what they did. This blows my mind. They went up to me on my best epic dates, and I've come up with a few good ones myself. What they did, they rearranged their own condo to be a romantic Airbnb. They set up their spare room with a massage table, oils, lotions, and potions. They went so much further than that. They turned their own living room into a beach. Get this, they put down beige-colored drop cloths, they put sand on them, and seashells. They set up a hammock and beach chairs. Okay? Oh, it gets better. Then they wrote a menu. They bought all their favorite foods, treats, and delights, left them in the fridge, and they wrote a welcome letter to the guests coming to this romantic, erotic Airbnb. Then, here's where they blew me away. They packed the bags as though they were going away for a romantic weekend. They got in the car. They drove to the Fort Lauderdale airport, turned around, drove back to their own house, this romantic Airbnb, checked in, and had an incredible weekend. According to them, they made love on the beach, their living room. They gave each other an erotic massage. They had lobster and champagne and the most romantic weekend right at home. So there you go, mic drop. You can't tell me that just because so many opportunities are closed to us right now, we can't create thrill with this, our mind and our imagination and our heart and our intention to make our partner feel amazing. So first ingredient, intimacy, communication. Don't talk about the mundane. Second ingredient, do something surprising or fun wherever you are. I'm getting really excited now because I'm getting to the third ingredient, sensuality. We're couples. The one thing that sets our romantic relationship apart from any other profound relationship in our whole life is the erotic, is the physical, is the sensual and sexuality that too many of us neglect. Don't worry. If you, like most long-term couples, very rarely have sex anymore, very rarely feel spontaneous arousal anymore. I've written some articles about that on the blog. You can check out. We'll link to them below. You can begin again by focusing on all five senses. The scent of this gorgeous, rich wine in front of me, the sound of the chatter, the buzz, or the music you choose. Touch. Give each other touch when you're on your date. Hold hands. There is so much eroticism in just stroking the palm of your sweetheart's hand and looking into their eyes. And yes, oh yes, whether you're tired, whether you're not in the mood, whether it feels like too much effort, I challenge you. Simply as an exercise, make love on Valentine's. Make love on Valentine's. Make your erotic life intentional. I'll be teaching a bunch more about that coming up, so no worries for now. But research shows, Rosemary Basson, a sexuality researcher, her research, she sums it up beautifully. She says the majority of long-term couples start making love from a place of sexual neutrality. Let me repeat that. The majority of long-term couples start making love from a place of sexual neutrality. What does that mean? What it means is neither of you's turned on. Neither of you feels horny. Neither of you's in the mood. You start making love because you know your erotic life is important, because you'd like to feel close, or because it's Valentine's Day. So don't wait to be swept off your feet by the urges of lust that we used to have when we were falling in love. Lust can be created one beautiful recipe ingredient at a time. There's your prescription, your recipe for a fantastic Valentine's. Just use it as an excuse to create a ritual of connection involving emotional intimacy, excitement and thrill and imagination, even if you're trapped at home in your apartment, and sensuality. I so look forward to getting to know you better, to helping you however I can. And if you'd like to know right now where you're strong and where you're weak on those three key ingredients, I invite you to take the free passion quiz. We'll put a link below this video. You can rate yourself right now. Your partner can rate themselves. I'll give you some feedback about where you're strong and where you're weak. You'll have a better sense on where to focus as you move forward in the rest of 2021, choosing to make passion a priority. Hello, Cupid. Goodbye, Cupid. I don't need you. I'm already falling in love over and over again with the one I'm already with. Salut.